The mantra takes me to the center of me. Yoga is all about me and my body and my breathing. And so again, whenever you see this thing of me, you're going to know that it pretty much is New Age. The other one is Enneagram and Reiki and Myers-Briggs, all of these personality type indicators, and I've done them all. I was a INFP, I think it was, in Myers-Briggs, if any of you ever did that. I can't remember in the Enneagram what my numbers were. But again, as I look at it now, it's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about my personality. And the more that I can come to know who I am through these personality type indicators, the more I'm going to see that I really am God. Ultimately, God is inside of me, and so I am God. And I think maybe that's enough to know in all of that. So there's a whole bunch of them, and I think a lot of parishes and I think retreat centers not only do yoga but would practice Enneagram. I don't know if Myers-Briggs is so popular now. It was a number of years ago, but Reiki as well. These are all then indicator types to help us see who we are and our personality. And the other one then would be the 12 steps of AA. And again, because there was a lot of alcohol in my family, I will admit that the 12 steps really did help me. And we were talking about this before, that it would be wonderful if someone, and there has been some done, but to really establish a Catholic understanding of the spirituality of the 12 steps. And I think there could be something powerfully done with that. Bill W., the founder of the 12-step movement, in his big book, it's called, which is the Bible for AA, on page 11 of the big book, he clearly rejects the divinity of Jesus Christ. So, there it is right there. He rejects the person of Jesus Christ and his divinity, and from that, Bill W. establishes the understanding of a God of my understanding. And again, it's very subtle, but absolutely insidious. So here I am, I'm creating God in my image and likeness, in a sense. I am saying, this is who God is. And isn't that attractive? That if I can create God in how I perceive him, then it's going to be a lot easier for me to deal with this God if I've got him in my back pocket. Like if he's sort of promoting my agenda, then isn't that quite wonderful? The other thing about the 12 steps, and again, this is very subtle but insidious, is that the American Medical Association picked up on what was going on with the 12 steps and then identified all addictions as medical ailments. And so the whole thing was about addiction and therapy. But in fact, the truth of it is, it's sin. It's sin. So it's all about sin and redemption. And so if it's only addiction and therapy that's needed, or addiction and recovery, who needs Jesus Christ? But if it's all about sin and redemption, then there's no other place to go but to the person of Jesus Christ. And that's where the 12 steps have really fallen short. And again, I know that there are many people who are involved in that, and certainly there needs to be an avenue where people can share and spend time talking about their woundedness and their brokenness. And hopefully something will come from this, that the 12 steps can be really brought into the Catholic tradition with the understanding that Jesus is the God of my understanding, that he is Lord, he is Savior, it is about sin and it is about redemption, and he has already won that for us on the cross. I think then there can be a very apt use of the 12 steps of AA. So in the discussion part, I'm really hoping that you have a lot to offer. Or I'd like to add one little part here if I could. Again, Pope John Paul has written something that he gave to the church about a year before he became Pope. So this would have been 1977. I think he was in Philadelphia in the US. And he said something really quite powerful. He said, "We are now standing in the face of the greatest historical confrontation humanity has ever gone through. I do not think wide circles of the Christian community realize this fully. We are now facing the final confrontation between the church and the anti-church, between the gospel and the anti-gospel." There's a cardinal in Rome, Cardinal Biffi, retired Cardinal Archbishop of Bologna, and he in fact gave the retreat to the papal household a few years ago. Pope Benedict had asked him to do so. He is an authority on the whole understanding of the Antichrist. And Cardinal Biffi said that without doubt he believes that the Antichrist is already fully present in the world. But that the Antichrist is not so much a person, but an ideology. And the ideology is the New Age movement. The New Age movement is Antichrist. It is Antichrist. And so what we are fighting is what John Paul is saying, the greatest historical confrontation in the history of the church. This is the battle, in a sense, of Armageddon that we are fighting in the Christian world. And you know that in your parishes. I find it more and more difficult every day to find a Catholic who actually believes in all that the Church teaches. I find it more and more difficult to find anyone who says, "I believe in the authority of the Holy Father in all issues." But again, as Pope John Paul has said, we are cafeteria Catholics, that we are picking and choosing. And so that is that whole understanding of New Age. I am God, so I will decide what it is that is true and right and good. And I will create my own religion, even if I'm living within the Catholic Church. That as long as I can then choose the things that are appropriate for me, then I am living this deep spiritual life. And that again is Antichrist, as Pope John Paul says. To reject the Catholic Church is to reject the person of Jesus Christ. So I think we are dealing then with this whole understanding of the Antichrist, and it is a battle that we need to fight in our parishes each and every day. So with that, we'll take a bit of a break, and then I'd love to hear what you have to say.